Today, this is actually the largest event that we've ever done in this market, just shy of 700 people. Thank you. I know, amazing. And what's really interesting is that, I was the founder of this particular event and organization. It was a Canadian business run from Kelowna, BC, where I'm from. So it's actually a Canadian-operated media organization that was then sold to a business that's based in the UK that's Adwanted, but I still work for them, and I'm still engineering this event or working on it from my hometown in Kelowna. And I'm going to start a little story on that. Every year, for my sins, I get to go to Cannes. Yeah, I know, you can take the piss out of me later for that, but it's great fun. And credit to the Globe and Mail, they run a Canadian event there where they gather senior people from agencies and brands. It's really, really good, usually towards the end of the week. And I knew this brand was there, prominent brand CMO in this market, and she's known me for quite some time. So I reach out to her because I don't know anyone at the Globe and Mail, and it's invite only. So I say to her, I was like, oh, can I get in, please? And she went, I don't know how, she sent this back to me in an email. She went, I don't know how to break it to you. It's only for Canadians. Yeah, I know. And I was like, for fuck's sake. How many times have I got up on stage here and told you where I'm from and all that sort of stuff? So this is my last string of dignity on this topic. It's the last time I do it. I'm going to prove to you where I'm actually from. Here's my passport. Notice the place of birth, okay? By the way, my party trick where I live in Kelowna, literally no one is born there and remains there. I don't know why, but I was. And as you can see, there I am. To further prove it, I've lived there for many years, got 4 kids. Here they are. Yeah, I thought that would work you guys over. How Canadian is that? They're sitting on the back of my truck with a Canadian flag. Hockey dad. I know what it's like to go to a hockey rink at 5 in the morning and drink Tim Hortons, right? Fact check. It still tastes like shit at 5 o'clock in the morning. I know Timmies are in the crowd, they'll appreciate that. Ringette dad. British people don't know what ringette is, right? I do. That's George on the right-hand side, by the way. He's the 13-year-old. He knew what the photo was for. I can't understand why he's doing the blue still, but I've got to give him a 10 out of 10 for that. That's Charlotte, she's holding Jack, and to the right of Charlotte there is Lily. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Christ's sake, this geezer on stage is trying to convince us he's all Canadian, and he's gone and picked the royal family for names for his children. I have no defense for that, we just like the names. Moving on. So aside from convincing you that I'm Canadian, I also can't count. This is actually the 10th year we've run this event. Thank you. But we survived. Yeah, but this isn't the 10th year anniversary event that we're celebrating because, like I said, I can't count. We're going to do it next year. I didn't realize it was 10 years. So we're going to have like a big thing. We've changed the date as well. One of the biggest criticisms we have is that we do a lot of planning in August and everyone's camping on holiday and in the cabins. So we're going to move it towards the end of September at the same venue. So I hope everyone's satisfied with that. I thought I'd start with some global topics, right? I'm very fortunate in what we do. We run global events within the TV, premium video, whatever you want to call it, marketplace. We have events that's all over the world, and I get to travel and talk about lots of these things. I thought I'd start with some global themes that are also pertinent to what's happening here in Canada. So, starting with the broadcastification of streamers. I've stolen that word from someone else who's actually presenting here today. What does that mean? Well, streamers are starting as they launch more ad products to act like broadcasters. Someone was going full circle. Why are they doing that? They want their platforms to be more sticky. Churn is a massive problem. And also in the ads game, reliability of audiences is absolutely vital. So they need people on there. They need to know that they're going to be on there, and they want them on there for longer. So we're seeing that. Within that, we're seeing strange things happening. We're seeing streamers buy traditional free-to-air businesses. This is an example from Australia. DAZN, as you know, is a sports streaming services. They're buying Foxtel. We're also seeing partnerships that you perhaps wouldn't have believed, right? Netflix and TF1. TF1 are actually going to put a live linear feed within the Netflix environment. How strange is that? Why are they doing that? Exactly for what I said before. It's making their platform more sticky. And also on the linear note, it's not going away, right? The stat on TV screens in Canada is still 80% of viewing consumption. And in Europe, those stats kind of line up. Canada is more like rest of the world, not the US, when it comes to these statistics. Disney and ITV as well. Amir, we had Disney here last year, and they were talking about the super aggregation of their service. So they're going to have sports, and maybe they're going to have third-party services within their environment, again, to make it sticky. Not going to dwell on this. We had a breakfast on it. The measurement sort of debate and JICs and the evolution of that to become more outcomes-driven is a big thing in all markets. And you heard it here this morning. You heard it here for those of you who attended yesterday as well. That's a big topic. And the final one is the YouTube conundrum. For those of you who might be following what I write about and others globally, you had Ofcom in the UK, which is a government-based trade body, encouraging broadcasters to work with YouTube in order to get extended reach. Channel 4 are doing it, ITV are doing it, and it's working out for them. That's the friends part. The faux part is it's a challenge, right? There's a business narrative that's actually quite tricky. Can these businesses make money doing it? It's tough. But YouTube, rightly or wrongly, are also going after TV ad dollars. So there's this conundrum that all media partners around the world are facing, and it's become a big issue. And I don't know if you've seen it, but Barb in the UK are starting to measure the top 200 channels on YouTube to provide some sort of comparability with how linear and digital is measured in that country. And I think you're going to see a lot more of that around the world as this sort of conundrum and friend flow sort of debate plays out. Canada. Let's look briefly at Canada just to set the scene. I'm using guideline data here. I like guideline data because it looks at the top holding group spend and top indie in this country. This is Canadian data. So it takes out the long tail of SME spend, which sometimes changes the landscape. And typically, the top agency groups and top indie groups are the ones spending on television. Spend is pretty flat, right? You can see that here. Digital's growing at the expense of television, out-of-home radio, and print. Probably not news to you. I'm not going to dwell too long on all of these slides, but the one main thing here, as you can see, is linear still commands the lion's share. However, despite all the excitement in CTV, streaming, and all the new services and the extra supply in the market, the sort of premium TV, if you like, remains pretty flat. So there's more suppliers, all fighting over share. The growth of all those new entrants in the market is coming at the expense of linear, rightly or wrongly. In lots of other markets around the world, there's a growth narrative where you're involving the streamers within that, and perhaps we want to see that in this country too. This is just an interesting slide of where the spend's going depending on category. Again, I'm going to share these afterwards. I thought it was brilliant. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that one. On a positive note, something that we discuss at length at this event is spend in media-owned channels from the major holding groups is coming back to pre-pandemic levels. Whether that is enough or it should be more or less, I'm not going to debate on it, but this is a point of perhaps optimism that we can have in the market. On that note, I just want to give a big shout out to the worst slide, by the way. This is a screenshot, which is dreadful of me, I know. I know. Sarah's sitting on the front row here, and she's looking at me with utter disdain because of how awful that slide is. But look, massive credit for Sarah Thompson for coming out with this report. This is, big round of applause. Well done. Here's why I think it's worth highlighting, because it doesn't just show the impact of the effect of media companies when you take money out of the ecosystem. It's actually the long-tail impact of the larger sort of economic picture. And I believe it's one of the first world studies of this type of research. And it started a conversation globally, and other markets are chipping in and sharing their data too. And I think that's a very important thing. Started here in Canada from Sarah and the media companies that supported it, and now it's spreading globally, and I think that's something worth celebrating. Next thing, I always bang on about media marketing and effectiveness. Are we in an effectiveness crisis? Are we actually good at marketing and all the rest of it? Think TV and the team here have compiled 3 amazing speakers. If you haven't seen Peter and Karen in action, they're coming here in Toronto whenever this is, in 2nd of October. The Think TV team are here. There they are. Come and see them. Watch it. It's brilliant stuff, and it helps brands return to the basics of how advertising actually works. This is a Wi-Fi code. I don't want to see you on your devices. I don't want to see you on your laptops. You know I have 4 children. You've heard that speech before, probably. Now, goes without saying that we can't run these events without the huge amount of support that we have from around the world, from all these top supporters and sponsors. And I have 3 slides of them, right? The other thing I want to note is as well, we spend a lot of time and work working with the agency partners, the indies that are Canadian operated as well, have them come out here, have them bring clients out here too, and use the event as a networking event to learn and all that sort of stuff. It's a really important part of the event, and they all lean in. And without all that support, without all these partners, without this, it's collaborative, right? This event wouldn't happen, it wouldn't drive the huge amount of interest that there is in it. Finally, we run an event in London. It's bloody good. Come along. That's all I've got to say on it. It's, if you want to learn what's going on around the world, here it is. You get to see all the other media owners from around the world talk about a lot of these topics to see what they're doing about it and the challenges that they're facing. Right, let's move on. We thought we would kick off with the effectiveness piece that I just mentioned earlier. And we're lucky to have a really good understanding of why in Canada effectiveness in marketing is actually low when you look at other markets from around the world. And to dissect that and to tell you why that's happening and what you can do about it, please, for the first speaker, they're always a little bit nervous, so give them a rapturous reception. Let's invite on stage Hilary Borndal, who's the founder and CEO of Mix Analytics. Hilary.